All right, we are going to try and rank Dynasty quarterbacks. We're going to try and tier them.
That's right.
And when I say try, I say that because we're trying to do it collectively together. And if you know anything about this channel, you know Badaki and I disagree on a lot of things.
That is right.
So this is going to be very interesting. Now, we have made this template over there on Tier Maker. If you guys want to use it, I'll link it in the description. You can tag us on Twitter if you want. Do it yourself. You can post it in the Discord. Link in the description to that as well. But we are going to attempt, Badaki, to place, I believe we went top 25 quarterbacks. We're going to try and tier them, and we'll see how this goes. And we're going to have some interesting conversations. So
I'm excited.
Let's start with the S tier. For me, I think we can automatically get out of the way Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Now, I'm pretty sure you would have it Josh Allen then Patrick Mahomes.
Correct.
I would have it Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, but I'm not upset if we go either way. You wanted to say something on that?
No, I guess in the tier it doesn't necessarily matter. Like they're just in the same, they're just in that same superior, like that superstar tier. So like I think we can both agree that these,
I would say these are interchangeable for sure, but there are some players like when we get to the C tier and the B tier where I do think there's like a big difference between the first and the last on that list. So I'm happy to say that these guys are on the same level.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know if you wanted to add anyone else here because I don't feel comfortable doing it, but I don't know if you do.
No, once again, when I was making this was really difficult. I wanted to really put somebody else in there. And his name's Justin Herbert, but I think at this moment I'm okay to have him in the tier below, which I'm assuming maybe if we go to the next tier, which is A tier, I think we can both agree the number one guy here is Justin Herbert.
Agreed. Yes. I've seen a lot of people either in our follower leagues or in leagues, around YouTube and around the Dynasty sphere, if you will, where a lot of people are taking Justin Herbert at the 101, at the 102 over Mahomes. And
that's correct.
I'm not against this at all. Okay. Well, let me rephrase that. I am against it, but I understand why people are doing it, okay? We're talking about Justin Herbert, who last year finished as, the quarterback 2, if I'm not mistaken. For me, the reason I'm still going Mahomes over Justin Herbert is, one, I think Mahomes is the most talented quarterback in the NFL, maybe outside of Aaron Rodgers. So if we're talking purely talent-wise, I do believe Mahomes is still the most talented guy. And I think I'm still going to take him. I'm still going to bet on him. Yeah. He's also got that 10-year contract. I know Justin Herbert's going to get a long-term deal, but I just feel more secure with Patrick Mahomes. This is a guy who has already won a ton of playoff games. His confidence is sky high. Yep. He's been a Super Bowl champion. So I understand why people are, wanting to go Justin Herbert over Patrick Mahomes. However, if anyone's argument is age, that shouldn't really be an argument here. Age for these quarterbacks, that shouldn't really matter, guys. I mean, we're talking about guys who play into their late 30s. And
agreed.
I understand if people want Herbert over Mahomes, but I'm personally not there.
Okay. No, I get it.
I think there's another guy I can add to this tier, Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Moneybags. Yeah, this guy is absolutely fantastic. He went to the Super Bowl in his second year, no doubt.
I want to ask you, do you feel comfortable putting Kyler in this tier?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I know we have disagreements on him all the time. The other two guys that I was going to place in here is Lamar and Deshaun Watson. Do you have any disagreements on those
No,
guys?
I completely agree on those guys.
Wow, no disagreements so far.
There is one person I do have in this tier, which I don't believe you do have, which is Russell Wilson. He is a guy that's been a top 8, top 10 quarterback in fantasy for the past, 8+ years. There was only 1 year he was outside of the top 10, and that was because this past year, that was because he was injured. So look, I would argue that he belongs in this A tier. He's a Super Bowl champion as well. I mean, this guy is great. He's going to a new team, obviously, with the Denver Broncos, and I do believe he's going to continue that top 10 quarterback, momentum.
I would struggle to put him in this tier, and the only reason is because every player that we have right now in the S and the A tier, I imagine is a first-round pick. If you're doing Superflex Dynasty startups properly, the players who are currently in a tier, the S and the A tier, they are both first-round picks.
Right.
Now,
I hear that.
Is Russell Wilson a first-round pick? I don't know. I don't feel like he is. Do you get where I'm coming from there? And also,
I
I
get where
think
you're coming from, for sure.
at some point, age does matter a little bit, right? Every guy in this A tier is under 20, is 26 years old or younger, right? Whereas Russell Wilson, I think he's going to be 34 this year. So I think, I think we're both probably going to have one person that we can like, you know what, this is my call. I'm putting him in this tier. Do you feel like you want to make Russell Wilson that person, or are you happy to place him into the next tier?
I'm happy to place him into the next tier. I'm happy to see how else it goes, because if anything, I think maybe if we disagree somewhere else, maybe we can move Russell to that A tier. Yeah.
Okay, so Russell would be your number one here in this B tier. For me in the B tier, my number one guy would have actually been Trey Lance. If you guys know on this, if you have been around on this channel, I have made a lot of statements about Trey Lance. I do believe that we're going to have a breakout year from him here in his pretty much what is his rookie year. I love the weapons around him. I love what we saw from him as a starter. Having a full offseason of being the guy, being able to command the offense, knowing the playbook, I think it's going to do absolute wonders for him. So I would actually have him, if we were doing a startup draft, I would be taking Trey Lance over Russell Wilson. But I'm happy to put Russell Wilson at the top of this list if you'd like to.
Right. Yeah. I'm happy to put Russell Wilson there. There is one guy I'm happy to take over Trey Lance though, and I think that's Dak Prescott. That's a guy.
Well, why don't we meet in the middle, because Dak would be right before Wilson for me. So I'm happy to put him right after Trey Lance.
Sure.
Are we happy to meet in the middle there?
That's good.
I would say on Dak Prescott, he's one of these guys that is not a sexy name anymore, right?
No, it doesn't feel that way.
He's not a sexy name. He's not a guy that people are desperate to have or desperate to keep. And, we've made videos about him. I think he's a good buy low. I mean, he's not even hit the age of 30 yet. Great weapons around him. So if that's helpful to anyone, but Dak Prescott, obviously with the injury, it feels like the rushing upside is capped, but that's probably why he's in this B tier. I have one more person in this tier, but I'm curious who you have in this tier outside of these three.
The only other person I would personally have in this tier, just for the same reasons you said about Trey Lance, is Justin Fields. The same way you viewed Trey Lance is the same way I view Justin Fields. I do believe he can have this next breakout as well. It's kind of tough to say that because we didn't see the Bears really invest in an offensive weapon. I mean, they got Bayless Jones Jr., but we haven't seen much for the Bears to invest in Justin Fields, but I still do believe he can work with what he has right now, and I do believe he does belong in the B tier. But I'm happy.
That's why it's so difficult for me, because beginning of this year, January, I was on board. I was like, absolutely, he's in the same tier as these guys in B. But how little they did. If you look at every year two quarterback, you could argue that the Bears did the least for their quarterback than anyone else. If you look at the Jets, right? Gave him Garrett Wilson. The offensive line is still good. We also gave him 2 tight ends as well as Breece Hall, right? You look at Trevor Lawrence. Yes, he overpaid, but he got Brandon Sheriff, one of the best guards. They got Christian Kirk, who's absolutely going to help this team. I mean, if you just look through the list, Mac Jones, they got Devontae Parker. Maybe you could argue there. Davis Mills, I mean, they improved their team overall. So
I mean, every other team is felt like has invested in their quarterback besides the Bears. And I also think that maybe it was tough because they didn't have a first round pick. Let's remember they gave up that first round pick to move up to get Justin Fields.
Totally.
And
maybe they went back to back defensive players, and there were guys that we loved on the board, like George Pickens.
Yeah. Maybe maybe they can sneak into the 2023 and get a first round pick, one of these wide receivers.
Could it be Jackson Smith? Who knows?
Exactly. So who knows?
Okay, so just to clarify, Fields is the only other guy in this B tier for you.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I would like to advocate. I don't have Justin Fields in this tier. I have him at the beginning of the C tier, but I'd like to meet you in the middle and also add Matthew Stafford to this tier.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about Russell Wilson, he needs to be in this tier. For me, I have Russell Wilson and Stafford back to back. Very similarly aged, both in fantastic offenses. Both guys who are definitely in their prime. And also both guys who I'm not afraid to draft if I'm rebuilding or if I'm, trying to win now. So can we meet in the middle and say we're going to add Stafford and then Fields to the end of this?
Yeah,
Do you feel good about that?
I really feel good about it. And I see, Russell Wilson, Trey Lance, Dak, Matthew Stafford, and Justin Fields. I mean, that feels really good to me. No doubt about it.
Fields as a talent, I want to feel so confident about putting him here as a talent.
Right.
am so frustrated with the lack of what they did for him this offseason. And I tell you what, a lot of people are going to be disagreeing with us on that one in particular in the comments.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the C tier. I had Fields at the start of this one, but I will advocate for Trevor Lawrence at the beginning. Do you have any?
This is where it's going to differ.
Oh no.
For me, the guy that I know you don't like, and
this isn't going to be good.
That's Jalen Hurts. I'm a believer in Jalen Hurts. I love everything that he's doing. I believe in the rushing upside. I like what his team is doing, and I do believe he could take the next step in essentially his second year that he has started as a starter. So in a full season essentially. So this is where I would put Justin Fields, but I'm happy to mix it up.
This is early for me.
I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to listen to and hear what you're saying.
Okay, so. Here's what's hard for me. Mm-hmm. I look at Jalen Hurts and I look at his game. He is not a franchise quarterback in my eyes. He's just not the franchise guy. Mm-hmm. Now, they have added so much around him and the defense got a lot better that I think he's going to be, again, okay. And for fantasy, he's going to be great. But I'm saying for their team, I think he's going to put them in this weird place where they're like, well, we didn't win playoff games, but he was good, you know? So I almost feel like they've kind of doubled down. I really didn't. Let me tell you where I am, okay?
Okay.
I have Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Tua, and Mac Jones all ahead of Jalen Hurts. What I'm happy to do is meet you in the middle and put Jalen Hurts after Zach Wilson. So I'm going to go ahead and jump 2 guys in my rankings.
Right.
And put Zach Wilson right ahead of him. Are you happy with that?
I'm okay with that because I actually do believe in Zach Wilson, everything that the Jets are doing there for him and what they've done this past year. Yeah, so let's do that. So Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Jalen Hurts, that feels really good to me.
Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna go into at the moment why I don't think Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. We've made individual videos on literally all of these players on our channel if you guys want to check them out. So I've broken that down in a different video. Okay, so Jalen Hurts is there. For me, it would be Tua and then Mac Jones next.
Absolutely.
You feel the same way? Okay.
Jones, yep.
And, you know, I do have these guys ahead of Jalen Hurts. I just feel better about them being starters in the NFL. But I understand there's absolutely more upside with Jalen Hurts.
Right.
And this is where it gets weird because I feel like for me, there's a combination of guys I don't want to put in the D tier because maybe they're a little bit older, but they fit those win now teams, or maybe they're unproven. So I want to know who are the rest of the players that you have in this tier because I have 4 more players I'd like to add. I don't know where you stand.
I really only have 2 more players. So
who are those 2 guys?
The one player that I have is Derek Carr.
I'm happy to do that.
And
Who
the
else?
other player, which I know you'll probably disagree, but I believe in as a rookie, and I'm expecting him to start, and that's Kenny Pickett.
No, I have Kenny Pickett there as well.
Okay, and so those are the only 2 I have in other people that I have in the C tier. You can put them in any order, specifically if you like. But I'm interested to hear those other, essentially 2 more people you have.
Yeah. So the other 2 guys that I have here, and if we're gonna put guys like Kenny Pickett and Derek Carr in there, I don't see why we don't have Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers in this tier.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers for me, I would have actually put ahead of Derek Carr. I know he's older, but I mean, I don't think Derek Carr is necessarily someone that you're really targeting if you're a futuristic team. Like these guys both kind of feel like they fit like the hybrid or the win now role. So for me, I would say Aaron Rodgers for sure. And then we're talking about Kirk Cousins, who's finished back-to-back years as a top 12 quarterback in fantasy, and he's in his early 30s as well. So for me, I would advocate for both of those guys to be in there. Do you have any qualms against that?
No.
Because if you do, I'm happy to listen.
No, I'm actually okay with Aaron Rodgers. The only reason why I have Aaron Rodgers in the D tier is purely based off the age.
Right.
In a fantasy perspective, we know how talented he is. This guy, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion.
Most valuable baller.
Yeah, honestly. So, yeah, I completely agree that he definitely deserves and has an opportunity to go in the C tier. But for me, it is the D tier. But I'm happy to put him there. No doubt about it.
I have him actually 2 spots ahead of Pickett. So I'm happy to meet you in the middle here.
Perfect.
And put Rodgers right ahead of Pickett. I love Pickett. Love the age. Love the weapons around him. But we haven't seen him take a single snap in the NFL just yet.
Exactly.
So I'm going to meet you in the middle. We can't put Kirk in that tier. Is that what we're saying?
I would be happy to put Kirk the first in D tier.
Okay. Yeah. I do strongly believe that he should be in the C, but I'll meet you in the middle and put him at the beginning of the D because I also have Tom Brady in this tier. He was the beginning of the D tier for me. Mm-hmm. And if we're looking at age, I mean, Brady probably has 1 year left, but Kirk, I think he could be a starter for, 3 to 5 more years. So
it depends on the team.
He feels a little bit safer for me in the C, but I'm going to meet you in the middle there.
No,
was Brady at the beginning of your D tier?
No, it was Kirk Cousins and then Brady.
Okay.
Once again, we all know how talented Tom Brady is. It's just I'm thinking in the fantasy perspective, the longevity, Kirk Cousins where he's at right now. Can he? This is how I feel. How you're building your team is a futuristic. Kirk Cousins can give you another 2, 3, 4 more years. Where Tom Brady, he can retire any single year now. So
if this was redraft, this would look completely different.
No
but
doubt.
This is Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
I also had 3 other guys in this tier. I don't know where you stand, but I had 3 other guys in this tier. Mm-hmm. Who else did you have? Because I'm sure we have some of the same.
I did have some other guys. I guess this is where it kind of gets tricky for me because I didn't have them put in any particular order, and I was really struggling. So I'll tell you the 3 other guys. I have Davis Mills, Jameis Winston, and then Matt Ryan.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I had as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel comfortable with that. Matt Ryan, I think he's potentially going to revitalize his fantasy career here in Indianapolis. We'll see, but I mean, it's not as if we're putting him in the A tier or anything. I'm happy with that. And now in the F tier, because I don't have anyone else in this D tier.
Yeah.
In the F tier, it's interesting. A lot of rookies here, and I'm curious to see where you would rank these guys. How do you feel about this F tier? Who's at the beginning of it for you?
At the beginning, it will probably have to be Carson Wentz. I think he has a perfect opportunity right now with Terry and Jahan Dotson in this offense. And then for me, it's Desmond, Malik, and Corral.
Okay, so Ryan Tannehill is at the very end.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, he is at the end. Excuse me.
He is?
Yes,
okay.
He is at the end.
He's at the beginning of this tier for me. So what I'm happy to do is put, because I have it, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, then Ritter.
Yeah, I would put Ryan Tannehill in front of at least Corral and Malik. I think that would be better.
That's exactly where I was going to meet you. I'm happy with that.
That feels better for me, actually, because now thinking about it, I don't think Malik is actually he might not start, and Corral doesn't feel like he's going to start either. He could start. We just don't know. But Tannehill, we know what he can potentially do, and he is going to be starting this year. So, yeah, I feel comfortable putting Tannehill there.
I would say between Corral and Malik, I feel like Corral has a better chance to start year 1. But I would also say that I feel like Malik has a better chance when he does start to at least give you rushing upside.
Correct.
To be a startable asset. Correct. I'm pretty happy with this list. Carson Wentz, I really think there's a chance that, he finished as a top 13 quarterback last year with only Michael Pittman. Obviously JT massively improved that team. But it will be interesting to see what happens with Carson Wentz. But I'm happy with the way that this list went. Not too many disagreements.
No.
I was definitely expecting a lot more disagreements in this video.
I think
because we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it's the disagreement is probably going to come in the running back room, the running back tier, which we're definitely going to be excited to make as well. So I think that's where we're going to find more disagreements. No. But
I'm already thinking about the Cam Akers conversation.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Travis Etienne conversation.
So love my boy.
Look, I like what we have here. I really do.
I like what we have here as well. I think this makes a lot of sense, and I'm comfortable with it. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And if you want to make your own version of this, we have our profile, which we will link in the description, and you can make your own tier. You can tweet it at us. I don't know what you kids do these days. I'm acting like I'm 50 years old, but do whatever you want with it. Comment down below. Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLandFam.